Hello everyone, welcome again to our Power BI course. Now on topic 3. So for this course, we'll be talking about cleaning and processing your data. That's data preparation and cleaning. We'll be working on these topics, these subtopics. So I'm going to take you through everything about cleaning your data. Now, first of all, you should ask, why are we cleaning the data? So normally data comes in very dirty. You could see null values, you could see irregular data types, you could see a lot of anomalies in your data. You could see some empty spaces, you could see some wrong values that don't match others there. So that is why your data needs cleaning. Now, the standard definition of data preparation and cleaning is that it's the process of transforming raw, unstructured, or messy data into clean, organized, and usable data sets for analysis. Power BI uses the Power Query editor for these tasks. Now, your data has to be clean so that you can analyze it well, so that you can come up with trends, so that you can come up with predictions. That's why we have to clean our data. So let's launch our Power BI and get our data. When you open up your Power BI, you come up with this page as usual. Click on the blank report and it takes you into our workspace. From this workspace, we'll be getting our data here. Remember, you can get your data from here or from the canvas pan or from the data pan over here at the extreme right. So it's an Excel file we'll be working with. So we'll be using Excel workbook. We're getting our data from Excel workbook. Click on that and search out your data. So this is the data we'll be working with. Search records test file is the name of our data. Now this is what it looks like. I'll be dropping this data in the description so you can follow along. So here's the data. Before you work with any data or work on any data, always try to understand what that data is talking about. So I can see the first column here is name, email, course, registration date, fee payment. It means I think this has to do with students definitely because we're talking about courses here. We're talking about payments. We're talking about registration dates. We're talking about emails. So definitely it has to do with something about paying for a course. So that's what our data is all about. Now, going back to Power BI, we'll be selecting this data and opening it up in our Power BI. Now, while the data is coming up, we'll be working with the data using these highlights. This is what we want to do with our data. We want to clean it in this way. We want to check for blank spaces. We want to check for duplicate values. We want to add new columns by creating IDs for those students. We want to figure out when they paid so that we'll know when their course is starting. So if they paid less than 15th of December 2022, then their course will be starting in February. If they paid after this date, 15th of December, then their course will be starting in April. Then we also want to calculate the fees they paid and give them a remark. Those that paid half bills, those that paid full bills. So we want to also check that out. So that's what we'll be doing with our data. Let's see if our data has come up. Okay. So our data has only one table in it called Ring of Power. Interesting. We may need to change that title. So selecting our data here is going to give us a preview of our data. Wow. We can see many null spaces or null values in our data. Now, mind you, your data can come in any form, so you have to be prepared. And that's why we do cleaning of data. So instead of load, we don't want to just load this data into our Power BI. We want to transform the data from how messy it looks right now. So click on transform data. Clicking on transform data will take us to a software called Power Query. We've looked at it before, but now let's look at it in depth. Now, Power Query is a software used for editing data, used for transforming data, used for cleaning data. Funny enough, you can access Power Query both from your Excel software and also from your Power BI software. So Power Query is just like a middle ground used for cleaning data. So that's that about what Power Query is. So let me walk you through the user interface you are looking at right now. As usual, you have the ribbon, the toolbar here, where you have new source, enter data, data source. You have so many things. We'll be using some of them in this course. You can choose columns, you can remove columns, you can keep rows, remove rows, you can split columns. You can even change the data type from here, merge queries, replace values, and all that. So that's that for homes. You see this one here, I didn't talk about it because we won't need it until the very end. When we're done with all our cleaning, then we close and apply. So we'll be coming back to that. Now, you also have the transform. There are also some very useful tools here. You can see some are repeated. Split column is also here and many others. So you can also change the data type just like that. So transform, you can transpose, you can reverse and all that. You can use first row as headers. We'll be doing many of all these things. So you have the add column, we'll be using that too, and many more. So that's that about the toolbar ribbon. Now to the left, you have the query pan. This is the query pan that shows all your tables. Assuming we have numerous tables here, like our previous lessons, you would see them all here. So what you have here is just one table called ring of power. Then to the right, you have the applied steps pan, applied steps over here. So it shows you the table you are on. If there are other tables on the left, to show you what table you are on and the steps you've applied. So applied steps simply gives us a record. Yeah, it gives us a record of what we are doing in the process of cleaning our data. What are the steps we've taken? It would show you the steps here, of which you can cancel any step. Once you cancel the step, it will reverse your action on this center panel here, this data preview grid panel. It will reverse your step on it. So I think we are ready to start cleaning up this data. So let's start by changing this table name from ring of power to make it student records. Yeah, let's make it student payment record. I think that's fine. Student payment record. Okay. Once you are done typing your new name, just press enter and you'll see the effect here. Once I press enter, there. So you have it. Student payment record. Next off, the only columns we need here are from column 3 down to column 7. Column 7 is where you have the payments. So we don't need these other extra columns that have null values. So let's take them out. We'll be doing that by choosing column at the top ribbon here. You can see choose column. So let's choose column and choose what we want. So while Power BI is coming up, okay, there. So let's unselect all and then select the ones we want. Column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6, column 7. That's all the columns we want. So you press OK, and bam, you have your columns that are needed. Next up, we don't need these 3 rows up there that have the null values. We don't need it. So let's take it out also. Remove rows. So we're removing top rows. Okay. So how many rows do you want to take out? We want to take out 3. So you press OK. And there you have it. Let's check the bottom if there is any need. Okay, we have data on all sides. So you can see here in our Power Query, it even shows us how many columns we have here at the bottom left of your screen. You would see 5 columns, 131 rows. So that's what Power Query can do for you. Next up, let's make the first row our header. So that's a simple step. We just come here, and that's to the top of the ribbon. You see use first row as header. We click on that, and there you have it. So our data is ready for cleaning. We have the titles, we have the data. Look at the right of your screen. You would see that all the steps we've done so far has been applied here or has been recorded here. We removed other columns, we removed top rows, we promoted the headers, we changed type 1. Okay, change type 1. I think Power BI just gave it that. So let's continue our cleaning. Okay, before we continue, look at this. On each column, to the left of the column name, you can see some items there. Here ABC, here ABC, here calendar, here 1, 2, 3. So your Power BI is automatically giving it some data types. So in case the data type doesn't suit you, you can come and edit it here by selecting the row first, then changing the data type. You can either come through this method, it will show you the different data types, or you can come through this method. Right clicking on that column will give you so much more you can do through shortcuts. So you can remove other columns, you can duplicate your column, you can remove duplicates, you can remove errors, change type, just as I showed you at the top ribbon. So for now, it's on whole number. So you can do many more things here from right clicking on the column. So that's that. Now let's continue with our steps for cleaning this particular data. So we've checked for blanks. Now let's check for duplicates. Let's check for duplicate value. So, but before we check for duplicates, you notice some rows are not having anything in their data. Look at the cost column and you see what I'm talking about. So cost column has some blanks, so let's take that out. And registration also has some null values. So that's what Power Query is doing. It's referring to it's because this cost column is a, let's check the data type it has. Right click on it and change type. You can see it's a text. So because it's a text, it's taking its own empty spaces as blank. And because this is a calendar, let's see, right click on it. It's a date. So it's keeping its own empty spaces as null values. But either ways, if a student doesn't have a course or hasn't registered, then it's definitely not a legit student. So we don't want that student here on our record. So let's take away such. Now, how do we do that? Come to this arrow button on your column, select it, and you will see filter. So that arrow button you are seeing there is called filter. So it shows you the values that are on that column. So we have accounts, analytics, design and technology, leadership, blank, and select all. So let's take away the blank. So we want it to delete every row or student that has a blank. It means that student is not valid. So it has taken away the blanks. So that's all for our blanks. If you are still seeing some null values here on our fee paid, it doesn't mean that student is not valid. It just means the student has not paid, but has registered, but is yet to pay. So let's give the student a chance. So next off, we will be checking for duplicates. So the best way to check for duplicates is the email. You can't have someone with two emails. So let's remove every duplicate here by right clicking. So once you click on that column, you right click and you see remove duplicates here. So let's do that. Now our duplicates has been removed. You can see the steps here on your right. Applied steps has removed duplicates. So what's the next thing on our list? Okay, so we want to create an ID. You can see that here. Create an ID. So for these other steps, we'll be adding a new column. So let's do that right away. So to create an ID, you have to create a column. But the kind of ID we want to create, we'll be using the column name. We'll be taking the first name of the person and we'll be taking the first letter of the surname. So adding the first name and adding the first letter together will give us our unique value. So let's do that. We'll be doing that by going to the top ribbon and clicking on the add column. So once you click on the add column, you will see column from examples. Now this would enable Power Query to automate your responses. I'll show you what that means. Power Query is going to automatically guess what you need. So come here to the column, the new column you've created. Double click on this first row here and enter in what you want Power Query to automate for you. So we want the first name, Haley A. Press enter and it takes you to the second row. It wants to be sure that this is what you want. So let's see what Power Query will come out with. Harvey R. Press enter again and you can see Power Query has automated it for us, but it didn't quite get it right. So it got the third row right, but the fourth row. So let's edit that and let's see what Power Query will do. Ramon R. Press enter and yes, just like that, Power Query has gotten it right. So you can see Math A and just like that, it has automated our column for us. So you can also change the column to what is pleasing. So let's just call it student ID. Student ID is not a bad name. Definitely not. So when you are done with that, press enter and come to the top and press OK. So as you can see here, Power Query has written the code So it's a code written in M language. That's what Power Query uses to automate things. If you learn this code, you can also create a custom column using this format to create any column you want to create. So you can see it has the split name. That's the language, M language. That's what Power Query uses. So just press OK and we're good to go. Our new column has been created there. So that's the student ID. He gave it a text format. That's why you see the ABC there. So let's move on to the next step. Oh yes, on the right you can see our added custom column. So the next thing we'll be doing is let's check our list of tasks. Okay, we will be figuring out term start date. That simply means, when is that person's course going to start? What date are we giving it? So if the person registered less than, that's before, earlier than 15th of December 2022, then the person's start date will be February. And if the person registered after the 15th of December, then the person's start date will be April. So let's do that. Coming back to our Power Query. Now look at the top ribbon. We're still on add column. So instead of using column from example as we did for the student ID, we'll be using conditional column. So click on that and it's coming up. Here we are. Add conditional column. So what is the name of the column? What name do you want to give it? So let's give it start date. Then what column are we working with? What column do we want to work with? Look at the columns we have on our Power Query. We have name, email, course, registration date. We want to work with registration date. So we'll select that. Registration date. Okay. Then what's the operator we want to use? Is before. Remember, less than, that's earlier than 15th of December. So we're definitely going to use is before. Then for the value is simply what this registration date is holding. So registration date colon name, operator is before, so it's before what? So let's select the calendar to pick out our value, and our value is 15th of December. So yeah, 15th of December, oh, 2022. Please don't forget that. Notice the arrows I'm clicking. The double arrow is for the year, the single arrow is for the month. Okay, so yeah, 15th of December 2022. So once the registration date is before this date, then what should happen? So we want it to output what? So let's just say, let's put it in a date format as well, even though it is in an ABC123 character type. But we'll be changing it when we can as well change it now. Okay, we'll change it when we've created the column. So we want 1st of February 2022. That's what our instruction says. It
says when the payment is less than 15th, then the course should start in February, and when it is higher than 15, it should start in April. So that's that for this. So else will go for the less than 15th. So less than 15 will pick 1st of April 2022. Okay, that's that for our custom colon or conditional colon. So press OK and it will take effect. There you have it. So our start date has been set. So when the payment is less, look at this one, the very first data in your registration date. The very first one is 14th, so it's picking up 1st of February. And then the second column says 30th, 30th of December, so it's picking up April here. And just like that, that's how you have it. Now notice the one that paid on that date, on the 15th of December, is also picking up April, because we set the custom column to be anything from 15 and above goes to April. So yeah, that's what we have. Now let's change the data type for this data. Remember, when you are choosing data type, you highlight the column and you right click. When you right click, you see change type, then you can select date and it will give you in a date format. You see, nothing really changed, so but then this icon has changed. So that's really a big deal, because Power Query is hard coded in the sense that it always looks for the data type you are working with for each column. It doesn't just overlook that. So let's move on. Next step or last thing we should do in our task is to calculate fee status. Calculate fee status so you can give remark. So let's do that. So to calculate fee status, we're also going to use the conditional colon. So click on the conditional colon, and for fee status, okay, before we go into, just cancel this first and let me talk about this task. Notice that the fee paid is the column we'll be working with, but notice that the fee paid carries 3 values. Let's check it out. Or let's say 3 types of values. So let's see how many values it carries. Click on this drop down arrow here. That's the filter, and it will show you all the values here. So you can see null, you can see 100, you can see 250, and you can see 500. So 500 will stand for our fully paid, full payment. 250 and 100 will stand for null payments. I mean partly payments, sorry. Partly payments, and null value will stand for not paid. So now that we've clarified that, press OK, and let's go to our conditional colon. Okay, so in our conditional colon, we'll be giving it a custom name of fee status. Fee status sounds like a good name. So the column we'll be working with, remember, that's the first input for this conditional colon. The column we'll be working with is fee paid. The operator we'll be using, mind you, fee paid is carrying a 1, 2, 3 data type. meaning it is strictly whole numbers. So you have to check that and confirm. In case your data is supposed to be in numbers but it's not carrying that data type, it will affect your custom column or conditional column. So you have to go back and change the type data that will suit you. So fee paid, the operator we want, mm, first of all, is equals to. So when it is equals to what? Null. So we're going to write null here. Remember, don't just it's not just an empty blank space. It is null. So you have to write it, and you have to write it in small letters. It is case sensitive. Then what next? What should happen next? Don't know why my Grammarly doesn't want to leave the screen. Okay, then the output would be not yet paid. You could call it anything, but I think not yet paid sounds reasonable since we're giving a remark about the payments or a status. Next off, remember we have three conditions. First, null value, second, 500, and third, anything less than 500. So we add another clause. Remember I clicked on this button here, add another clause or add clause. So else, if column name was still working with fee paid, the operator is still going to be equals to, but this time around equal to 500. So if the fee paid is equal to 500, then what should we output? We should output fully paid. Fully paid. And last of all, else. This else down here, we don't need to create a clause for it. Just anything other than these two values, null and 500, should just be, the output should be part payment. Part payments. That should be fine. Press OK and we're good to go. Our fee status has been created. Notice it. So for 500, the status is fully paid. For 100, the status is part payment. For 250, the status is part payment. And for null, the status is not yet paid. So that does it. We are done with our cleaning and transforming of this data. So a quick recap to how we cleaned the data. We talked about, we checked for the blanks, we checked for the duplicates, we created an ID, we took away, okay, first of all, we took away all the null values, all the unwanted columns and rows. Don't forget we did that. Then we figured out the term start date, and lastly we calculated the fee status. So that's that about this particular cleaning. Notice also on the extreme right, the steps we took are also here. Now if your data happens to change, you can just come here and refresh. Go to your home at the top ribbon there, and you see refresh preview, and to follow these exact steps, except you don't want some particular steps, then you can take it away. Or if you bring in a very new data that you haven't even cleaned at all, it's still very messy, you can follow these same steps by just clicking refresh. So the steps will be here. Once you click on refresh, it will go through these steps. If you don't want any of the steps, you can take it away. So after all these we've done, now we're ready to close and apply. Close and apply will now take us into Power BI and apply all the changes we made to our data. So click on that. So it's loading as usual. Yes, we can see that our data has successfully loaded. Here it is, student payment record. Let's view it on our table view to the left. So yeah, there you have it. This is our table. These are the extra columns we worked on. You can see the fee status, the start date, the start ID, fee paid. You notice fee paid no longer has the nulls. Instead, it just has the empty spaces replacing the nulls. You can see not paid for the fee status here. So going back to our canvas view or report view, let's create a simple report just to see what we have. Let's check the number of students we have on our data and the amount we received so far. So I'll click on the course. I'll click on, you can see as I clicked on the course, it automatically brought out a table visual. Look at it highlighted here, table. Next, I'll click on the email since those are unique values. Emails are unique values. Then I'll click on the fee paid. So looking at the visualization pan here, you see the three things I clicked on. It has course, it has email, it has sum. It automatically summed the fee fee paid. So like I said in the last topic, you can change it to whatever you want. So let's change this email from just being email to count. Let it help us count them. So it's going to count the emails so that the courses will just be one. It won't be repeated. So let's carry our visual to the center of the screen and let's enlarge it. You can see the remaining data there. Just double click on the edges, any of the edges, and you can enlarge it. But this visual is quite tiny, so let's work on that. Go to the visualization panel on the right and click on the format your visual. So let's go to the values. Like I said, it has so many, formatting has so many stylings you can add to your, you can change the column, the design of the table, so many things. There is even general, and make some effect. So but for this topic, we'll just be going into the values. So let's increase the font size. Let's say 22. Hope 22 is not too much. Yeah, so 22 looks okay. 22 helps us really look at what we have here. So you can see for each of the courses, you can see the students that is applied. You have 15 for accounting, you have 33 for analytics, you have 20 for design and technology, 25 for leadership. Altogether, you have 93 students, and these are the amounts in general. You have 21,400. So that's that for our cleaning of data. Lastly, let's let's talk about something. Assuming we have more students come into our program and some of them that paid half now paid full. For example, this 100 here on the, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5, on the fifth row you have 100, on the sixth row you have 100. So let's edit them. Assuming we want to edit them to maybe fully paid 500, or let's make still partially paid 250. So let's put 250 there. for the two of them, the 100, we're putting 250. For example, I want to show you a tip. So yeah, 250 there. And assuming you had other students come in, maybe you added to the row, to the information you have here, and then you save this. This is our raw messy data, remember? It hasn't been cleaned. So if we save this, Ctrl S for save, and we go back to our Power BI, assuming we've done some visualization here, you don't need to go back to transform data up here in the home ribbon just to transform your data back in Power Query. All you need to do is press the refresh button and see what happens. So it's refreshing it. There you have it. You can see our value has increased. Okay, still working on it. Our sum of fees that are coming in has increased. Let's go to our table view and see the effect, if it really changed. So you can see here now has 250. The Matt Ashley has 250. And okay, let's see the names, because it seems Power BI arranged them or rearranged them. So let's see, the name of the students are Maya Randall and Matt Ashley. Those are the names of the students. So going back into Power BI, you have Matt Ashley here, and you have to look for Maya Randall somewhere down there. But in the meantime, you can see Matt Ashley changed, right? It changed from 100 that it was before to 250. So that's to tell you, if you're also on the table view and you come to home and you just refresh, it will also have the same effect on our visual. So that's all about cleaning and transforming our data for today. So we would be looking at, in our next topic, we'll be looking at data modeling in Power BI.